cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. No more. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Simracersworld TV. Something's gone terribly wrong with the intro, and I have no clue what just happened. Apologies for the black screening and the bit of a moment there. My name's Hasse Rømer. I'm here with Jack Oliphant for round 3 of the Simracersworld DYNAMIXX NASCAR Series here from Pocono. Indeed, it's going to be an interesting one to see just how the drivers are gonna tackle the tricky triangle here. Jacko, hopes up and expectations for what could be a very interesting round of racing here.
Well, I think we're going to see more caution periods than we did last time out. I think we're going to see a bit more pit stopping, more tyre degradation, and just a bit more to think about from the drivers' perspectives in terms of their strategy, which will make it very interesting for us to speculate on what everyone's doing and sort of keep an eye and try and figure out who may well come out on top. But I think it's going to be the driver who can manage the tyres and manage the car the best. And I'm very much looking forward to it. As I said, it's a bit of a different attack from these drivers' perspectives and what they have to do. But it's a completely different track at the end of the day. And it's not one of these sort of super speedways. It's a bit more like a real track race, you could say. I think we were talking about it before the program, Hasse. It's a bit more like racing on a road circuit.
Yeah, it is. It really is, and we're going to see bigger differences than we're used to here in these NASCAR races. And just what effect it's going to have on the racing, well, we'll see. They call it the tricky triangle for a reason. It certainly is not easy to get a car around here. Mind you, these are fixed setup on all 3 cars, so you'll have a very, very equal footing for every driver involved in this series, and we've seen examples of that. But the tricky triangle here, Pocono, really wants to separate the drivers, and some love it, some hate it. It's certainly challenging to all. The banking is some of the most widely differing, at least within one oval, or so tri-oval, if you will. But very, very difficult for the drivers indeed. And we will see some hefty tire degradation here tonight, and I think it's going to have quite some effect on just how proceedings play out here.
It does indeed. There's a few interesting little facts that I will sprinkle into some of the slightly inevitable caution periods, but one of which that we're sort of seeing when we do that sort of large pan away over the start-finish straight, it's got the widest start-finish straight, or widest straight of any NASCAR track. So there's a little interesting fact. You can see it there on your screen. It's absolutely massive. It can fit about 7 or 8 cars probably across it if they really just park themselves. But we're having a look at Johan Osorio, who was obviously the winner last time out, and through dramatic fashion as well. Sergio Hernandez looked like he was trying to put the pressure on, but he got boxed in at the end. So Johan held on to the lead and ended up taking his first race victory. And he's so much of a baller, is Johan, that he actually brought in his own translator to have a chat to Hasse, which I just think is the most awesome thing in the world.
Absolutely. So 30 seconds left of qualifying. And it's time for a prayer here, because, well, due tradition, we forgot it last time out. We had to do it in one of the caution periods. We're not going to do that anyway. So, Lord above, have mercy on the drivers and their tires for the challenge that lays ahead here at this tricky place. And thank you yet again for having the opportunity to race virtually on Monday nights and to have some fun where otherwise not much fun is had. And then on that accord, amen to that, and let's all get together and race our virtual machines. Let the V8s be fired, and let us get the grid order on display for you. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Frederick van Eekhoven grabbing pole position ahead of Team Perry. Then Matty Sufi, Paul Gosling. But as you can see there, over 1/10 of a second. That is big, big time in NASCAR terms there. Matty Sufi, then Paul Gosling, Kenzie Newhoff, and Sergio Hernandez, they're in 6th position. Stephen Wolf, Paul Russell in 8th, then Sven Calvert 9th, and John Barnes for Quantum as well. They're in 10th place. Ryan D. Walker and Adam Wright makes out row 6 of the grid, when Bud Boland 13th with Hendrik de Graaf in 14th, and then 15th it's Lucas de Belder for Go Fast, Turn Left, something they'll be doing quite a lot this series indeed. Johan Osorio, last week's winner, half a second down in qualifying there, 16th place. Of course, a lot of stuff can happen come race moments here. Ari Sehes, a teammate and translator of Johan there in 17th. Then Kim Behaid, Fernando Lopez, Ruben van Buel, John Tusting, Kurt van Honacker in 22nd place. Manolo Rock, 23rd. And then Jochen Lennartz in 24th place. Let's see further down. It's John Tusting. Oh, I already said that. Oh, my apologies. You do easily get confused with this. Steve Kleiss, it is in 25th place. Then Tony Arias. It's Bram van Uyften, Thijs van den Bergen. It's Yves Fredericks in 29th. With leaving up the beat now, racing for Radion Motorsport by QSR, Ian Roots. And then Robert Lundgren, the Swede, indeed. It is for Boosted Motorsports in 32nd place.
Yeah, just looking at the YouTube chat as well as the drivers start their warm-up lap. Bram van Uyften, apparently, he's qualifying 27th place. He jumped on the server with a minute left to go in practice, and he just jumped on and stuck in a qualifying time. So the fact that he's not on the last row of the grid is pretty impressive, I'd say. Big up Bram van Uyften.
Yeah, indeed. As Bram says, what could go wrong? Well, we'll see. But the problem for everyone here, especially at Pocono, is that usually what you find happening for yourself is that it goes wrong for someone else. And when it goes wrong for someone else, chances are that if you're in the vicinity, it's going to go wrong for you as well. It's deceptive that the straights are this wide. Indeed, you do have a lot of space to bunch up and stuff. But the way this track is raced makes it very, very hard indeed.
Does indeed. But we're rounding out, and obviously we'll try and keep the doom and gloom of the pace cars entertaining, and we won't get too many of them too quickly. These drivers are a lot better at NASCAR racing and oval racing. They're a lot more used to it than we had in the first time out of Pocono. So here's hoping, fingers crossed and all that sort of thing, that we're going to have an exciting and thoroughly enthralling event here for round 3 of the SRW DYNAMIXX NASCAR Series.
Yeah, indeed. The 46 car coming up the side and telling people to...
It's Ian Roots.
Yeah, the big boss is getting in there and telling people to stay in line. Let's see if we can just get ahead of these pit signs. We cannot. We'll get a different cam going here for the start of the race. But we are green indeed with Frederick van Eekhoven getting them underway here at Pocono. An hour and a half it's going to be, or 65 laps. So if we stay green for the entirety of the race, we're looking at something worthy of just over an hour's worth of racing there. But let's see just how it goes. A very good start. Already, my word, Adam Wright is involved. Manolo Rock, I'm afraid, as well. Let's see what happens here, Jacko.
Yeah, just having a look at it. Can't quite see the number. We're obviously having a look for Adam Wright in the 27. He's not in the picture at the moment. That's because the incidents actually happened further ahead, and it just collects a few of the people. The Ford Zilla car as well. That's gutting, because we've seen Philip Russell have some really poor luck throughout this series so far. The 87 of the Flemish Sim Sport, Hendrik de Graaf. Sorry, I completely forgot. I was looking down. I was like, it's not Radio, it's not Team Down Under.
Oh, there it is. So it's. I'm sorry, but it's the Ford Zilla car, the 77, and Adam Wright making contact with one another. And it's thrown them all into a heap of trouble here. Let's have another look. There, you can just see the contact between the two. Osorio, so close to being caught up. And both the 86 and the 87 collected in one incident. That's 2 out of 3 cars for Flemish, I'm afraid. Let's see further back, a couple of drivers just with nowhere to go. This could have been a lot worse, to be honest, Jacko. But it really didn't take us long to get our first caution period here.
It really didn't take long at all, but you are absolutely right, Hasse. It could have been an awful lot worse. I think there are a few drivers that avoided that really well. And when you're going 4 wide through turn 1, at some point it's probably going to give out. Pocono is not Daytona or Talladega. It's not one of these places that you can sort of get away with that. It's a bit flatter. It's the banking's not as curved round, so at the top of the turn you're not getting as much of a traction on the inside. It's a bit more difficult, and you will see those sort of incidents basically happen throughout the race. But we are in the pace car. Hopefully it won't take too long. It's probably a 3-lap pace car. It tends to be. And then we'll be back racing for what will be the 5th lap, I believe.
Yeah, indeed. And look at this. Look at this. Thomas Smets tells us that Kurt van Honacker has been a daddy for a day. And usually we don't do this with, you know, hampering, by the way, to the likes of chat folks in terms of what we're gonna look at, since it's very much in our control. But when a child has been born within the ranks of the drivers here, and someone is a newly crowned daddy, a newly christened daddy, if you will, as well, that is Kurt van Honacker, now a dad. Congratulations to Kurt, all the best in this special period, and however much fun it might be, I imagine that it's going to be quite an effort as well, but all the best. And of course, from us here as well. Let's see the bumper, Thomas, as he comes around here. Good bit of...
I think it says Pampers.
It says Pampers! And it says something else that I cannot make it drive faster.
Drive faster.
Need to...
Drive faster, need to change diapers. Very good, Thomas. And, you know, like... Well, to be honest, I'm more amazed, Hasse, at the fact that he said he jumped on, obviously, relatively... You know, he can't have had that much practice. If he's been a dad for 24 hours, that must take a majority of it. I'm amazed he's even on tonight. That's very good commitment there. And a very good person looking after the baby currently, I imagine.
Yeah, indeed. So look at this. Kim Behait on board. As you can see, actually, the car of Adam Wright did make contact with the machine of Johan Osorio. And they sort of just managed to go around it, and he managed to avoid being a part of the incident here, impressively so. By the way, while we have you under caution, a word goes out to our sponsor, DYNAMIXX Race Simulators. Check out their website. A link is, of course, in the description as always. And many thanks for making the racing possible, alongside the broadcasting as such. And I see, maybe we're gonna have the numbers of the pace car come off, or the numbers, I'm talking about the lights, of course. Indeed, the lights did come off, but we have about a minute, and I'm just gonna go through the standings quickly here. After round 2, we are, of course, at the 3rd round here at Pocono. Sergio Hernandez, our defending and reigning champion, leads, but by 5 points. He's collected 81 points. Johan Osorio, last week's winner, 76 points to his name as well. Then Tim Perry, very close indeed as well with 72. Frederick van Eekhoven, 69. Greg Frank's up there as well with 68. Bart DeVos with 65, very much in the fight as well, alongside Kim Behait. Then Adam Wright with 58. So does Fernando Lopez Vinales as well. That's in 9th place. And Paul Gosling in 10th at the moment with 53 points. So a very close fight there between the top contenders at the moment in the championship standings, and I think it's a promise of good things to come there, Jack.
Oh, I certainly hope so. Yeah, Sergio Hernandez not that far ahead of Kim Behait, all the way down in 7th place. So any of those top 7 can really sort of turn the tide after 2 rounds. All you need is 1 or 2 bad rounds from the likes of Hernandez or Osorio, and all of a sudden they drop down to, you know, just clutching at the top 5. But we are about to go racing yet again here at the SRW NASCAR Series, obviously sponsored by DYNAMIXX, like we mentioned. So hopefully we last a little bit longer before we get the second caution period, more than turn 1 anyway, with Frederick van Eekhoven leading the way in the first start and the first restart as well. Hasn't changed position. Tim Perry and Matteo Sufi also still follow in 2nd and 3rd. Kenzie Neuhoff in 4th, and rounding out the top 5 is Paul Gosling. And you hear the engine notes rising of Frederick van Eekhoven. It's not quite gunning it yet, but I think the pace car's coming in. Here we go. He's changed down the gears to get the punch of the massive V8 in the Toyota, and he is away, and it's a good restart as well by him. I think Sergio Hernandez in the Lucky Dogs car number 6. Kenzie Neuhoff has got a really good start as well. Sergio Hernandez has been caught out just a little touch, but Frederick van Eekhoven and Kenzie Neuhoff in 1st and 3rd. And there's contact in the background. Who knows? Paul Gosling. He's gone from 5th all the way down the order, straight into the tire wall, straight into a few of the cars. Who's going to avoid it? Just a few other cars involved with that. Again, it could have been a lot worse, but we're back into caution period around turn 1.
Let's see here. Paul Gosling getting the slide on there. I think collecting a bit of the wall. Having a bit of the 69 car as well.
Lucas de Belder.
Yeah, that's Lucas de Belder indeed. Everyone else so far. But at some point, there's nothing he can do. He just needs to try and hold his brakes. And he's going to come across. Oh, and there. Luck runs out at some point. And this is at the very bottom end of the field. And you can see Ian Roots making contact there with the 65 car as well. But in these situations, some of these drivers will have no time to react whatsoever. Let's see if we can get a better look at just what happened. Oh, so he gets the squeeze on another machine there before. And that was the car of Lucas de Belder, as you said, Jacko. And just...
I think...
There it is, the squeeze. Paul Gosling, seems to me, he comes across a bit. He gets thrown into the wall. We didn't quite get this part of it before. So that's, of course, an explainer. And just as we were looking to get racing again, back under yellow flags there, you can just see at full speed, the drivers having to go around there, Jacko, at the very end of the field, are really left with a challenge at their hands.
Yeah, I'd love to get a replay of it from on board of Ruben van Buell as well, because he was the original SRW car that actually made contact with the spinning car of Paul Gosling, and he actually managed to go onto the grass, hold the drift, and then come back out on track, and he's still in 18th place. So Ruben van Buell here is... you can see him on board here. I just want to give a shout out to this car control. If it's as good as I believe it is, because he gets a little tap there. And then, I'll tell you what, to control a NASCAR like that is not easy. And he gets it back straight line. It was all styled out, wasn't it?
Yeah, let's see it again. And I'm just going to slow it down. As you can see right about now, you can see he's coming across, but there's nothing he can do. He gets a big old tap. It kind of gets him drifting on towards the grass. Quick reactions, but the car wants to come back. He then controls it on the grass, which is impressive in itself. Controls the tank slapper as well there, Ruben. Does he so? Brilliant stuff. And then gets it under control. And that's going to be too much aid for the 148 card here. Frederick van Eekhoven still leading. He's inside the pace car. I'm sorry you had to see that. I'll tell Frederick never to do that again if we... I mean, after all. Anyways, sorry for ruining the immersion for a moment. All jokes aside, it's, I think, time for the lights to go off the pace car as it comes round here. This is what we're hoping for, at least.
With any luck, yeah, and a little bit of a fact sprinkled into this one while we're waiting. Do you know what the turns are called here at Pocono? I'll do a little bit of a quiz. Do you know what turn 1 is called at Pocono?
Oh,
Hasse?
I went over this last season. I
did
this last season. Isn't it the turns that are named after other tracks? And it's because they're modeled after 3 different tracks, isn't it? That
is another track. It's not Pocono. That is another track. That is a very interesting fact, though. So I can't remember which track it is, but it's not this one. No, turn 1 at Pocono is called Turn 1. So what would there be? It's the American naming system for you, isn't it? So logically, what would be Turn 2 called?
Turn 2?
Yeah, you'd have thought, but it's not. It's called the Tunnel Curve. And the weirdest one, the third one, the complete the triangle, it's not Turn 3, it's not a tunnel curve or anything like that. They just called it the Big Bend. They just got bored with how to how to name things. They just said, yeah, we'll just call the last one the Big Bend, that'll do.
I think several this is not the only American race course to have the Big Bend either. I think Sebring, if I'm not mistaken, has a Big Bend as well. Interesting facts here from racetracks of America. I was just hoping for my fact-finding radar to be tuned in there, but because I do remember there is one of these ovals that has corners that are basically muddled.
There definitely is. There definitely is. We'll find it out.
So we will visit that oval, but I don't remember which one. Maybe one in chat is gonna hit me up with it. Anyway, we are getting closer to the second race restart that we'll be looking for and looking at for tonight. Frederik van Eekhoven, Tim Perry on the outside, then Kenzie Newhoff. So look out for the team down undercars being able to go directly into teamwork action here. Although it's not a track where you'd necessarily associate it with bump drafting. Let's see what happens. So Thomas tells me that I'm not wrong either. And that is actually true. Anyway, Frederik van Eekhoven gets him running away, and we're back to boogity here at Pocono. The tricky triangle has shown to be just that for the opening 9 laps of this race. We've hardly had any moments green here, and this time around, Sergio Hernandez is certainly not sleeping on it. He's on the inside, he's looking forward, and he's passed on Matty Sufi up into 4th place there. And let's see how everyone gets through turn 1 this time around. Seemingly, fingers crossed and knock on wood and spit across my right shoulder and all that stuff. We've got everybody running this time around, so looking forward to see a bit of green flag running here, and the team down undercars are pushing it immediately, looking to create the gaps here.
Yeah, it's Frederik van Eekhoven certainly pushing the way through. Kenzie Newhoff will try and keep there or thereabouts, but it's probably more the fact that he's going to try and hold off everybody else as well, with Tim Perry in Boosted Motorsport and now in 3rd place. Sergio Hernandez jumping up from 6th to 4th into, 4th place. Matteo Sufi as well, rounding out the top 5 this time out. And a few drivers jumping into the pits by the looks of it. That's Philip Russell. He's already been in the pits once due to damage. He's now back in there again. So that's a bit of a shame to see Philip diving in there. He's lost 21 places. He had a good qualifying. So that is a shame to see. A few of the drivers that made... Oh, I'll tell you what, Kenzie Newhoff. I thought he was going to end up spitting into the apron there, but he just about got away with it. But he may well lose out to your pit. Tim Perry here on the attack into the 2nd corner, the tunnel. And he's just about got it as well. So a nice, clean, easy move, really, for Tim Perry. That's what happens when Kenzie Newhoff loses the back end. And I think Sergio Hernandez is sniffing blood in the water here as well.
Very much so, and it seems to really be heating up here, and all the while Frederik van Eekhoven trying to take the advantage. If he can get so far ahead that he's broken the slipstream down to this pack already, it's going to be a huge advantage, and Sergio Hernandez is going to be wanting to waste no time being held up behind the teammate of the driver currently leading there, Frederik van Eekhoven. That's Kenzie Newhoff trying to make a nuisance of himself at the moment. Down further, and actually right on the tail there is the 64 of Matty Sufi, then John Barnes, Lucas de Velder, and Stephen de Wolf in 8th place, Sven Calvert, and Johan Osorio haven't really moved on about it as well. He's risen up 6 places since starting in 16th place. Now he's up into 10th. Bit of smoke coming there, and you can see the car behind going a little wide, and up ahead. Look at the advantage for Frederik van Eekhoven. You have to wonder here, Jacko, do you think he's playing the hare here for the team down under, being the driver to go on the early push here?
Well, I think some people in the background will be playing the tortoise if that's the case, and they'll be hoping that it'll be coming back to them sooner rather than later. But Sergio Hernandez was actually going side by side with Kenzie Newhoff. Sergio has now gone back into 6th position, so that's where he started. Kenzie Newhoff still in 3rd. With Matthew Sufi and John Barnes. And side by side, you see here Stephen de Wolf and Lucas de Belder, after de Belder was involved in that previous incident. Johan Osorio as well, going nicely alongside the DYNAMIXX race of Sven Calbert, as Kenzie Newhoff has been overtaken by Matthew Sufi on the inside. And that's 3rd place for Sufi back again.
Yeah, indeed, Matty Sufi there with a very nice move. He's telling it early, he'll be well alongside, and there's really nothing to be done there. And that's the kind of move you want to make here as well, Jacko. One that doesn't really wear the tires, and one that doesn't force you to do cornering at an excessive pace. Good restart there from Sufi as well, up into 3rd place where he started as well. And the top 3, if you will, is as they were from the race start. So Van Eekhoven leading, Tim Perry, Matty Sufi, then Kenzie Newhoff, Sergio Hernandez in 5th place at the moment. But you know what? The Lucky Dogs driver doesn't really seem to me like he's on a super bitter pace, at least not right now, but this could all just be a sandbagging effort and a tire conserving effort, of course, as well for Hernandez. And he could show his hand later on in the race. We'll just have to see. I mean, some of these drivers surely will be counting on the fact that we'll be seeing some caution periods here tonight. Yes, we've got some close fighting up again. Look at that. That's Ryan D. Walker taking it around. Ari Sayers on the outside. The 555 in the big bend there for Nomad Sim Racing, bringing it up into 13th place. That was a very, very nice move indeed.
It was, and even though it's... Oh, there's been a crash in. There's a caution period. Somebody's in the entrance of the pits, and that's the number 5 car. Who is that we're looking at? It's Tim Vandenberger, sorry, and he just spins it around nice and conveniently parked so he can drop himself into the pits. But I think he just did that all on his own. I could be wrong. We haven't seen it very early back, but I'll tell you what, lucky he's in the sim world because that one would hurt. And it's surprised that his car hasn't halved. And to be fair, look at his steering; he's struggling a little bit there. But he was slightly lucky that he parked himself so close to the pits.
Yeah, indeed. You don't say. Let's just see here, Thijs Vandenberg. So he comes directly from an overtake here on the inside. Seems to be carrying a good amount of speed. Here he comes. Oh, so this is just a slight bit before the incident coming into it here, I believe.
Yeah, going through turn 3 now. Is it just too much speed? He's already washing wide. And I think he knew that one was coming, didn't he? He didn't let off the power or anything like that. He was probably hoping it was never going to come, but eventually it did. Into the tyres he goes, or into the Armco, and into the pit.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. So let's just see here if we can get the thing to play ball with us for a moment here and bring us back to live pictures, if you so well please. There it is. Then up to normal speed and back to here. Oh, we are live back again. Sorry for that little bit of a bugger. But Jacko, 20 minutes of racing here, so we're coming up to a third of the race time done. Under caution as well here. And laps wise, well, we didn't get far. We lap 15 at the moment, so
yeah, theoretically we have 50 laps to go, don't we? But if the caution periods keep up the way they are, I think we'll probably be hitting the timer before we hit the lap counter. I think, to be fair, we've only actually had a couple of races where we haven't hit the timer, to be honest. So it's, you know, it's not unheard of. Unfortunately for this series, obviously we do like to see more green flag running than anybody else, and there is what a little bit of a fake there by Frederick Redekhoven, and the both team down undercars decide they're going to throw that fake in there, and they haven't pitted in. I'm not sure if that's the right strategy or not. I think they're banking on another caution period coming up soon, but it's an interesting one because everybody else has dived into the pits.
Well, pretty much almost, but look at that, Adam Wright, he's going to overtake pretty much in the entire pack. Well, the same goes for the Flemish cars of Beheid and the Gravel. Jochen Lennartz is going to be up there for DYNAMIXX in the 65 machine. Mew, you will certainly be excused if you were watching Murray videos. That's one that I can co-sign. But of course, now it's not Murray time; it's NASCAR time. Someone's got a lucky dog there, and I think that's Tony Arias. Certainly is the 117. The privateer. We don't have a lot of privateers in this series, but nice to see that still privateers are around. Of course, Tony Arias being the lucky dog in this situation. I just want to have a look, because last week Sergio Hernandez had a teammate on grid. I don't think that's the case for tonight. Of course, it's not as important as well here, but let's see just how it's going to look here. Tony Arias, was he thinking about going in there, but he knew maybe he was going to lose the lap if he did. And so he's decided to stay out. Lights are still on. And we're still under caution here. So this being, what, the third or the fourth, Jacko? Or I've lost count already.
Yeah, I think it's the... so have I, actually. I think it's the third. But Ian Roots, I think, is our only driver to retire. Robert Lundgren actually may well be.
You were watching Al Murray. I just see the name Murray. I was expecting it to be Murray Walker videos, but I've been watching some of those lately. They're pretty good too, Mew. So, coming back to racing at the end of this lap. So a double for Team Down Under. A few drivers are in. That's Bram van Hoefden at this time. That's an unlucky time to say the least. Although you can do it without losing a lap, so that's of course better than actually losing the lap here. That's self-explanatory. The two Flemish cars, 86 and 87, alongside one another. Sergio Hernandez there taking the pit stop, doing what I think would be the clever thing in this situation, although we haven't done that many laps at the moment. Didn't lose that many positions on track, Jacko. He was in 5th place when they came in, and he's in 10th now, so that's a net loss of 5 positions for Sergio. And knowing his skills, once they go back to green, he'll be able to claw it back quickly indeed, Sergio Hernandez. Let's see just how he's going to cope with the situation. Jacko, you're going to take this restart and you're going to show just how it's supposed to be done.
Well, we'll see about that. Hopefully we get more than 1 or 2 corners. Obviously, we already had about 3 or 4 laps of total clean running so far, but as we come around the big bends, we are going to get the cars restarted. It's a Team Down Under front row. That means it's going to be a Team Down Under restart. And Adam right now is not that far behind in 5th place either. So all 3 of the Team Down Under cars are nicely packed together. And I'll tell you what, Frederick Van Ekhoven went very early there. So did Kenzie Newhoff, obviously talking to each other on the comms. As soon as it was available, they dropped the hammer, and Steven de Wolf was left with Sven Kalper and Adam Wright, Hendrik de Grave as well, to fight it out for the best of the rest so far. Sergio Hernandez as well in 9th place still, and we're looking down the order. I think Johan Osorio as part of that is Paul Kosling. But at the moment, the best restarts are the 2 teammates at the front of the field, Frederick Van Ekhoven and Kenzie Newhoff.
Yeah, indeed, Frederick Van Ekhoven, Kenzie Newhoff. Love the tone of that one, Jacko. We need some more of that. Again, as I mentioned before, the Flemish car is doing a good job of getting in there, getting up there. It's De Grave and Behaid. And watch out for just how quickly Sergio Hernandez can gain these positions. He's already gained 1, and now he goes up the inside of Tim Perry. Through turn 3 at Pocono and onto the start-finish straight they come, and a little bit of contact there with the outside wall. We'll see it. We'll see it many times, but what kind of consequences it's going to have for the end. Tim Perry keeping position, and is that someone going quite slowly on the outside there? I think that's Adam Wright, slightly surprised to see. Look at that! Hernandez overshoots the corner. That's not what we used to see from the reigning champion. On the high line there, that looks sketchy. And at the moment, Fred Van Ekhoven running away with this one, the 477, with Kenzie Newhoff in the 62 car on the tail. And look, that Adam Wright's got up into 3rd place as well. So it's a 1-2-3 now for Team Down Under. And they're certainly having a good showing here tonight, aren't they?
They are indeed, yeah. It's stunning driving by Wright. I was amazed how Sergio Hernandez kept it out the wall, to be honest, as he was going on that high line. He looked like the back end was about to step away from him. But him and Tim Perry are having a right good ding-dong, aren't they? It's like watching them at the front of the field, even though they're fighting for top 10 positions. Having a look at Steve Clays, obviously in the Skittles car, very recognisable. And there's a bit of a gap, to be honest, between the front runners and Steve Clays, who goes a little bit wide now. Johan Osorio in this pack as well. Fernando Lopez Vinales as well as Hendrik de Grave we're on board, not on board with, but having a look at. Sven Kalper as well as 6th place. He's trying to hunt down Steven de Wolf to try and crack into that top 5. But everywhere you look, there's more action brewing as we see the NASCAR finally getting some green running and finally getting what we expected here at Pocono.
Yeah, indeed, we're on to lap 20 of 65. And it's certainly been an interesting opening half an hour or so here. Fred Vankoven now got a gap of 0.4 of a second, but more interestingly, 1.85 second. That's a teammate, Adam Wright. And you just have to be wondering whether it's wise to have a teammate chase down the two teammates up in front here as Adam Wright goes a little wide there, and he's now going to be see if he can just get in the way of Hendrik de Grave here, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And Flemish Simsports take over the chase in third place here. A bit of tight pressure between the two. The gap between de Grave in third place and the leading car, Van Ekhoven, now up to around 2 seconds, which is quite a lot in NASCAR terms, to be honest. You can see here Sergio Hernandez ahead of Kim Behate, up into 7th place. Seem to be executing things with precision here in the 19 machine.
Well, we've seen him come back from a lot worse, haven't we, Sergio Hernandez? And with new tyres, I'm not surprised to see him really try and attack the drivers in front of him. Frederik Van Ekhoven obviously leading this race. He's actually in 4th place in the championship, so he's right now picking up some crucial points to try and claw back to Johan Asario, who's obviously a lot further down the order, and the likes of Sergio Hernandez. Tim Perry, who is in this little battle here. In fact, you can see him on board now. He's in 12th place. Now, he's in 3rd place in the championship, remember. And another driver I want to bring your attention to, well, two actually, are the two team down under cars that aren't Frederik Van Ekhoven. Adam Wright, who is currently running in 3rd place, he is in 8th overall in the championship. And a lot further down, very uncharacteristically, is Kenzie Neuhoff, 18th in the championship. So realistically, if anybody's going to be cannon fodder to hold off the rest of the field, in theory, it should be Kenzie Neuhoff in terms of the championship. But I'm not sure that's how they roll. Sim racing is quite often a little bit different to real life racing. They don't play those sort of team orders. But side by side, in fact, 3 wide here with Kim Behate in the middle. Sergio Hernandez has been hit with a number 64 Sim Racersworld. Oh, and Behate's involved as well. Hernandez carries on like nothing happened. Tim Perry, we're back under caution.
That's Hernandez and Sufi. There it is, the contact. And to just watch the cause of that, I cannot tell you. Things happen quickly. But contact indeed. Sufi sent into the spin. Hernandez manages to gain control, but he gets a punt from behind. I think that is that Hendrik de Grave there in the 86? Or is it Kim Behate? It's Kim Behate indeed in the 86. It is. I've got caught.
John Barnes in the Quantum car as well getting involved. That's a 777 car. In that sort of dark green livery as well. And so a few cars, but again, it could have been a lot worse. With any luck, it's not involved too many cars losing a lot of places. Obviously, Kim Behate is one of those drivers I won't be too pleased, but I don't know. We're watching it in full speed. It looks like Hernandez and Sufi just go for the same bit of tarmac. Whether Hernandez is turning in, we can't quite see. Whether Sufi's going a bit wide, you can't quite see that either. So it's a bit hard for us to make a judgment. But one thing we can say is that Behate definitely didn't deserve to be caught up there just as badly as he did.
No, certainly not. And the damage clear at the front of the car, the worst place to get it for these NASCARs, because the radiator, really, if you get damage to the radiator, it's something that you're going to have to get looked at on the pit lane. So let's just see. We can go back to live pictures. There we are indeed. As the front of the field, of course, is back under yellow time. I wanted to see if we could have a look at the time at the moment on screen, but under caution it seems that we cannot. We are 31 minutes actually now into the race, by the way. And I think to the best of my calculative skills, we'll be looking at least something close to the race time coming into play here, rather than the race distance. Now Van Ekhoven, is it gonna be another fake? Oh, he's faking him again, and a lot of the... Oh, and look at this, Hernandez goes in again. Of course, he's got the damage this time around to contend with. That's, of course, a very good reason for him to come in and get the damage sorted with the fast repair. Mind you, I actually saw something incredible checking through the standings. According to the standings, which I believe to be true, over the first 2 rounds, Sergio Hernandez did the 2 races without collecting a single incident point, which is impressive.
That's just clean race. I mean, that's the proof of a top driver, really, isn't it? The fact that, especially in these cars, incidents are so easily picked up. I'm not sure if he'll get one with that contact being held there. That record may well be scuppered.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame, because obviously he did so well. But here is an opportunity for everyone who is watching to obviously click one of the links down in the description and have a look at our sponsor for the series, DYNAMIXX Race Simulators. There's an awful lot you can buy online, even in these locked down times or socially distant times or wherever you are in the world, no matter what your rulings are. But obviously, if you fancy a little bit of window shopping, have a look at DYNAMIXX down below. And if you fancied a bit more of a hair raising experience, I believe they do paintballing and simulator experiences as well, for something for your next stag do or hen party or birthday party or anything. Check out DYNAMIXX, because they look like they've got some pretty good stuff going on.
Indeed so. And it's going pretty good, it has to be said, for Team Down Under as well. At this moment here, we are now on what I believe to be lap 25 out of 65 to be done here. So we're approaching our halfway point in pure laps. We're not quite there yet, of course, with 50 seconds of running per lap. I think we'll have the pace car coming back into the pits at the end of this round, which means we'll go back to green flag racing here soon again at Pocono. Hopefully this time around it'll be just that slight bit longer before we get incidents, but this place is tricky indeed. And the driver we haven't really mentioned for some time now, he is here. He's very much here. He's in 9th place at the moment, and certainly not in a position to be discounted here. Last week's winner is Johan Osorio for the Ramones Oval Spain, and just how they will get along with this, it's going to be interesting to see. And Johan, let's see, he has had a pit stop, I think. I'm not quite sure. Or has he? Oh, he has indeed. He has indeed. So I think actually by now, Jacko, it's just a few cars who has yet to pit. Kenzie Newhoff, Frederick van Eekhoven being some of them there, but the Flemish car of Hendrik de Grave has been in once. Adam Wright has been in once as well. Then Sven Calvert, Steven de Wolf has yet to pit, and that is the only drivers that have not been in yet. Sergio Hernandez, by the way, is now down in 21st position. So he's going to have a bit of a hard time coming back through the running order here. I don't think he's taken his fast repair here, Jacko.
No, well, I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. I mean, obviously they know a lot better than we do their state of their tyres for the Team Down Under boys, but they decided not to pit. Everybody else has pitted at least once, as you said. So interesting to see how the tactics play out. They're probably betting on another pace car at some point soon. But I'll hand over to you, Hasse, for the restarts. For I think this will be the 4th or 5th time. Hopefully it'll be the last for a while.
Let's just see about that without calling too much. No need to curse the field here with the curse of the commentator. But Frederick van Eekhoven, will he be looking to go early yet again as he did before? I think he will, but let's see if the rest of the field are awake to this time around. They went very early indeed, and you can see him helping along there with Adam Wright, jumping up into 3rd place on the outside, settling quickly into it there. Team Down Under with the team moves on the restart. Very, very nice play from them indeed there. Frederick de Grave holding off the 2 DYNAMIXX cars of Sven Calvert and Steven de Wolf. They will be sitting ducks, I'm afraid, for many drivers in behind here. Ari Sehes actually finding himself in a very good position there, instantly getting the jump on Steven de Wolf. In behind is Steve Klaes, and the Skittles machine there getting feisty with Lucas de Belder in the 69 car there, and Johan Osorio wants a piece of that pie as well. And those 2 drivers saying no thanks to a 3 wider. That's Johan thinking better of it. Oh, and someone's having a spinner, I'm afraid. And how much of an incident was that? That's the question. Oh, and almost another one there, which is dramatic to say the least, as we've had 1 lap under green flag, and that's certainly been a hefty one indeed here. Tim Perry in 13th place. Some of the top runners from earlier on certainly finding themselves in sufferous positions. And look at Sergio Hernandez there being caught up behind the gap there alongside Sufi and Behaid as well, who's all caught up in the incident before. They've all had to come in for repairs. They've all suffered, and up ahead now yet again. Frederik van Eekhoven, Kenzie Newhoff really taking off here, Checo.
Yeah, and we speculated that maybe they were taking life out of their tyres earlier on. Well, they're the only drivers that haven't pitted for new tyres, and they're still powering ahead. So the Team Down Under boys really have this tactic set up. With Hendrik de Greve managed to get through Adam Wright, and so did Audi Sejas as well. So Adam Wright dropping a little bit further back, but I'm sure he won't be too worried. I think that was the cause of a bit of puff of smoke that we saw on the screen earlier on. But yeah, you were on board of Kurt Van Honeck. Obviously, that's how you pretty much got to drive one of these NASCARs constantly, turning slightly left, because the car always wants to bend in left. And you can see now, as they pitch in, just how hard it is on Pocono. In fact, Kurt going for a narrower line. A lot of people going for a later apex. And you're right, we were talking before, obviously, in qualifying, before we went live, Hasse, that the car's attitude towards attacking this circuit is a lot more like a normal track or road that we would often see in European racing and the like, so not oval racing, basically.
Oh.
And we're back under caution, so I'll hold that thought.
Yeah, we were seeing just... it's Bud Boland, I'm afraid, being a part of this one. Let's just see what happened to Bud in that situation. For the yellow flag. There it is.
Tim Perry he's with.
Tim Perry having a bit of touch. And it's touch and go there for the 284 of Bram van Hoefden on the inside as well. Let's see if we can just get another look at the contact. I'm afraid Tim Perry on the rear end of Bud Boland there. In turn 2, that's in the tunnel corner. You can see the tunnel actually underneath it there as well. Bud Boland rather unlucky in that situation. Racing incident, I would call that to be. But indeed, very, very close afterwards. Well, and I think actually, because I got to see this Hernandez. Like I said, this one develops further on, and he actually gets picked up. Oh, Hernandez into the wall.
Well, that's what could happen if you're further back in the order, isn't it? You get caught up in incidents that have nothing to do with you. And I think John Barnes was involved as well, and Jochen Lennart. So, as you said, it developed afterwards, that incident. Actually, it was a lot worse a couple of seconds afterwards than the original incident. This is John Barnes skipping up and down, almost like a Doha race, really, trying to skip across the off-road circuit. But he's just about back up, but his engine is blown. That's why he's in the pits.
Yeah, indeed, and we have to see, because there at the end... he gets tapped there. And that's what's taken out his engine, I'm afraid. That's, or maybe that jump there did not help either. But certainly chaotic scenes that we're seeing here from Pocono at the moment. John Barnes certainly certainly in a sorry position there. We're on to lap 29, we're on to lap 30 now, I'm afraid. That is 31.
The leaders still haven't pitted.
The leaders still hadn't pitted for half the race here. But with this being the, 5th or 6th caution period we're under, that would have been, 10 out of 13 laps. So a third of the laps done that's been under caution. And just how much of the time that's been done under caution? Well, that's a good question as well. We've been running for 40 minutes now. And it's still Frederik van Eekhoven leading the field. And Jacko, I don't recall actually having seen at any point really that the pole sitter just having hung on to it for the entirety of the race, or the entirety of the race. It's maybe a bit much to say when we're halfway through, but you know what I mean. The still stands true that pole sitter just sitting on P1 for so long is not something we're really used to seeing here.
No, it's not, and it's something that most NASCAR tracks sort of, love about their circuit. They boast about it on their websites and stuff. It's just how many times the leader is changed throughout the entire session. And Pocono is no different. They boast about it on their circuit website, saying about how it promotes the sort of close racing and the fact that the leader is constantly changing and all this sort of thing. We haven't seen any of that so far. Frederik van Eekhoven, with the assistance of Kenzie Newhoff, although he's been the one punching the hole in the air, is Frederik. He's just been dominant, class of the field so far. He qualified on pole, and this is the longest we've seen anybody lead the race for, cleanly for this long. So, in any of our sort of events that we've had so far, but he hasn't been into the pit yet. So eventually that will have to change. At the moment, though, he's very much enjoying himself, I imagine.
Yeah, indeed. And then it sounds like he's actually clutching out as well to save fuel, so they're really trying to take it as far as possible here. If fuel stops are needed, Mew, I believe so. That's usually the situation, at least. But tire changes will probably be necessary at some point. We've seen most of the field do one, and I wouldn't be surprised to see everyone doing one. Given this is a place that's infamous for its tire wear, well, I'm rather perplexed that we haven't seen. That we're like with drivers still running their original set of tires from the start of the race here, 30 or plus laps into it. That's somewhat of a surprise to me. Of course, yet again, a shout out has to sound to our sponsor, DYNAMIXX Race Simulators. Link to their website is in the description. And all these caution periods, see it from a positive side. Plenty of chances, plenty of time where you don't necessarily miss the racing. To check them out. Anyways, we're gonna go over to Jacko for yet another race restart with our fingers crossed that this time around we're gonna see a little more green flag racing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We are pretty much over the halfway stage in terms of the race length, in terms of the time. Anyway, so we will probably end up finishing on the timer rather than the laps completed, but we will see. Hopefully, if we get a good bit of clean running, a good clean 30 odd laps, it would help the cause significantly, I'm sure. But jumping into the pits is now the pace car, and it's the team down under cars who yet again gone early, and yet again it's caught out some of the rest of the field. Hendrik de Grave, I believe that is, nowhere near it in terms of challenging the two team down under cars, and they've done that in about 4 out of the last 5 caution periods. Hendrik is a little bit closer now. Continue going a little bit wider, going for that later apex to get a good run out. And here they go. They do stretch that lead into about 0.3 of a second already, which is pretty large. Going through turn 1, it looks like everybody's just about kept it clean. Adam Wright's going on the inside of one of the other drivers, Steve Clay's in the Skittles car with Johan Asario for company as well. Clay's pitching it in wide and pitching it in hard as he comes back across the team down under car, the 3rd place in the down under team. Johan Asario trying to sniff out a potential top 10 as well out of this race after he won the previous round. Going back to the Team Fordzilla car, Philip Russell just touching the apron there. I'm surprised it didn't unsettle him a little bit more. Did ruin his run though, meaning I think he may well lose out on any chance at overtaking the cars in front of him. Sergio Hernandez been involved in far too much drama than he's used to. Up to 14th place still with fresh tyres. I'm sure he'll be able to some green running long enough to make the team down under cars pit in, and he can really attack this Pocono circuit.
Yeah, very much so. Now, Venekov and Newhoff still looking strong there. De Grave get a better start this time around. Ari Sehes for Ramon's trying to get in there as well. And then the 69 of Lucas de Belder finding himself in a very good position indeed. And then it's all the way down to Adam Wright there in 7th place. And Johan Osario in 8th. Really putting on the pressure. Look at that in behind. I think that is Matthew Sufi. And indeed it is the Belgian squeezing in through on the inside of Sven Kalbert. And the dad himself in the 07 machine for KV Racing there is Kurt van Hoolacker. And further down the order, some close battling going on as well here. Look at Ed Fredericks in the 13 car, just on the outside of the 26 of Bad Poland. Manolo rocks there as well. And a tight squeeze for the lower positions as well. And well, someone's run a bit wide on the outside there, but seems to carry enough speed there. But Ari Sejas for Ramones seeming to put in a very good challenge here tonight, Jacko.
Yeah, Ari did not have a good time last time out, I think it's safe to say. But he is absolutely flying here, and he is the best from the rest at the moment. Again, he's gained 14 positions, tied with the likes of Lieven Op de Beek in the Radion Motorsport car for the most amount of positions. I'm telling a lie, actually. Steve Clays has gained 19 positions, so they're the second most amount of positions gained by Eddie Sayers in 14. But yeah, in third, it's a long way away from the likes of Kenzie Newhoff ahead of him. You can see the gap. It's just unheard of in the SRW NASCAR series that we've seen so far. But let's have a look at what's happened to Stephen DeWolf here. He's being overtaken by everyone, and that's why he got loose. Coming out of the corner, he's bouncing across the track, not enough to bring out a caution period, luckily. Does he come back on safely? It does, but he ruins his run, which means everybody else has gone past him.
Yeah, indeed so, and that's something we've seen before here. It doesn't take you a lot to drop down many places indeed here. Steve Clays in the number 3 car as they come along the pit wall here. It's looking strong indeed. And the field yet again stretching out. We've seen it before here at Pocono. That the field just does seem to stretch a little more here, and there's a very good move there from Osorio up the inside of the Flemish car, but it's going to be a cut back there from de Graaf. It's going to work out for him. I think it is not. And it's going to be position gained. Johan Osorio up into 6th place, although this is not game over yet there with de Graaf coming back up towards the tunnel turn. And just how is that going to play out? Well, not into the favor of Johan Osorio, who's now on the receiving end of several machines there. That's Sophie. I think that's Sven Kalbert as well in the 73 there, and in the 67 and behind as well. Getting feisty in the situation. That's Fernando Lopez Vinales, the other of the Ramones machines in this fight there. A little bit of a different livery for Vinales in the 67 car. I like the Ramones cars, by the way, and they seem to have a really good spirit about their racing here. Hardstyle Nation trying to call the cautions for once, not right. But I like your enthusiasm there, mate. Actually, look at this. We are seeing a bit of bump drafting here from Kenzie Newhoff, helping along Frederick Van Eyck over. And look at this. Here is Matty Sufi on the inside of the Gravel. And just in behind of these two, Osorio, Sven Kalbert, Vinales, and then Hernandez up the inside there. Vinales, he's come from nowhere here, absolutely flying for lucky dogs. He's got a point to prove here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he needs to move up the order. He's pitted in twice already. He's got the fresher tyres. He really needs to take advantage of them now. I'm just having a look at his best lap time. Pretty much everyone is within about half a tenth of each other, so there's not much to look at. But in terms of the previous lap times going, he's been about half a second quicker than everybody in front of him up until Steve Clays. So Sergio Hernandez, the man on the move at the moment. Kenzie Newhoff swapped into the lead of the race, obviously giving Frederick Van Eckhoven probably a chance to run in his dirty air instead. Ali Sejas still in 3rd place. Lucas Dabelda in 4th. He's doing a lot of going fast and turning left. And in 5th is Steve Clays of the G-Drive Exima Esports car, also known as the Skittles car.
The Skittles machine it is to us here in the booth. Indeed, here we're watching the scrap between de Graaf, Osorio, Hernandez, and Sven Kalbert et al. There in behind. Oh, Kenzie Newhoff's in the pit. Kenzie Newhoff's in the pit on the green flag, and all of a sudden Team Down Under is looking to lose out big time. The gamble seems to not have paid off for him at the moment, and now it's a case of for how long is Van Eckhoven going to be able to run here? They're going to be absolutely hoping for a caution period to come by all of a sudden. The thing is it going to happen? I don't know. Oh, and we have yellow flag, and it's Hernandez and Fernando Lopez Vinales, I'm afraid, who's a part of the situation as well. Let's have a look at it here to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll analyse what happened to Team Down Under in a minute, but that is a big off, isn't it, with the Ramones and Sergio Hernandez? But they weren't actually the culprits at the beginning. They just got mixed up in the incident. Obviously, we'll try and slow it all down for you as Hasse brings up the cracking camera angles like he always does. Again, Tim Perry's there, Johan Osorio as well. Who's the 87? This is Hendrik de Graaf. He goes too wide. Johan Osorio is there. They're going for the same bit of track. I don't know what he expected Osorio to do or whether his car was just forcing him out there. Tim Perry goes into the back end of Sergio Hernandez, who dives to the inside, not by choice. Johan Osorio carries on. Hendrik de Graaf is being spent spinning around as we look at the 90 car of Sergio Hernandez and the number 67 car. We mentioned him already, but just having a look at my timing tower to make sure I get it right. Is Fernando Lopez Vinales. So Again, Fernando is not anything he could have done about that. He just ended up being in the wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, very much so. So looking at it here from the viewing angle of Sergio Hernandez, he'll be trying to get around, but he receives a punt in his rear end as he tries to slow down for it. Another one there from, I think that's Viñals, and there's just nothing that he can do. That is a massive impact, though. Absolutely massive impact for Hernandez. Oh, that is terrible indeed. I'm afraid.
Yeah, but we could break it down for the team down under, boys, obviously, because Frederik van Eekhoven is probably thanking the Lord right now, and all the CPUs that you keep on praying to, Hasse. I would be amazed if we don't see him dive into the pits. Obviously, we saw his teammate Kenzie Newhoff, and yet, there we go. I don't think this one's going to be a fake out. There we go. Frederik van Eekhoven actually takes to the pits for the first time this race. Frederik will be pleased, but his teammate will not be. Kenzie Newhoff obviously pitted on the lap that incident took place on under green flag conditions. One of the very few drivers to actually pit under green flag conditions. So he's lost an awful amount of space at the moment. He's in 27th. Obviously, he'll be trying to catch up now as best he can, but will he be able to catch up in time as these drivers are starting to bleed back out? In fact, I think this is him coming up.
That was indeed.
Yeah, so he's into 4th place.
Yeah, Kenzie Newhoff. That wasn't actually so bad at all, was it?
No, I was completely wrong.
Actually, Newhoff's gonna get past on Van Eekhoven in this situation. You know, I'm a little bit surprised about that, but that may be the timing of just how everything's worked out. Philip Russell, Bud Bolden, Manolo Rock, company still sitting there in the pits. I'm afraid it's going to be some repairs now for Sergio Hernandez. He's been in there for almost 3 minutes now, and it's certainly not looking good. Here's John Barnes all of a sudden in the 777 for Quantum here, finding himself the leader. We're 54.5 minutes into the race by now, so we've got a good 40 minutes left to run here. Still, everything can happen. Laps wise, we're now on lap 40. Excuse me, lap 41, I believe, 42-ish. It's 40. Before I say too much, let me just, because I need to scroll down. There it is, 42 it is. Lap 42 of 65. So coming into last 20 laps or so. And we're in a situation here where whether we're going to see the drivers take the lap or the time limit of 1 hour and 35 minutes, well, that's going to be down to just what kind of race we're going to be seeing here over the last part of it.
Yeah, we can sprinkle in some more Pocono. Actually, well, the lights are off, so we probably won't sprinkle any more Pocono knowledge in there, apart from the fact that apparently it almost closed down, did Pocono, and from 1990 the whole place was actually rebuilt. If we do get another caution period, I'll expand on that a little bit, but I just like to take this opportunity to caution period.
We still have, they've got to go all the way around, and it's under caution, so we have just around a minute or so. And take us away.
It's
Pocono Raceway. Check on them. Go.
It's quite a good little story, actually. Apparently, it was on the verge of selling because it was so bankrupt back in the 70s. And they met with Bill Senior, who was the owner of NASCAR at the time. He started it. Well, he was in charge of it at that point, and they told him not to sell up. And he persuaded them in the end after a couple of hours over dinner. And then he went away and he gave them more NASCAR races, basically. And it saved them from bankruptcy. And that meant they actually got the opportunity to run it for 15 years, save up the money. In 1990, they tore the entire place down and rebuilt it over the space of 10 years. It cost them $3 million a year, and they gave state-of-the-art pits, press rooms, paddocks, parc ferme, everything. State-of-the-art, $3 million a year it cost them, and now it's one of the the normal tracks that they're using in Indy and NASCAR racing.
Indeed. Brilliant stuff there, Jack. And we're just about to go back to green running here at Pocono. Hopefully, we're not going to see too many of these from now on. John Barnes is going to be the one to take us away here around turn 3 as the pace car is going to swing off in a very short moment. Thank you all for tuning in with us on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook as well here on Simracersworld TV. We're back to boogity, we're back to green here. 22 laps of racing remaining, and it's the 777 of John Barnes for Quantum that gets him all the way. But have a look out for Kenzie Newhoff jumping into second place there immediately, and I think that is going to be a tight squeeze up the inside for quite a number of cars down the 14748. Ruben van Buell making contact with the wall, but nothing more than that, and they all got away from that alive. And just see what a terrible run can do in such a situation here. And I think Frederik van Eekhoven certainly up there as well, fighting alongside Tim Perry. It's one of the DYNAMIXX cars up the outside, and we have got a very, very nice race on our hands now here.
Yeah, one of the sort of perks of oval racing, really. Although Frederik van Eekhoven was so dominant, he is finding himself in third place, and all of a sudden in a really hot and heavy bit of racing, doesn't he? Lovely to see, though. John Barnes in second place. He couldn't hold off the team down under car Kenzie Newhoff for very long. I doubt he'll be able to do the same, actually, with Frederik van Eekhoven, because Van Eekhoven is looking very aggressive in his rearview mirrors. They've already left the rest of the race to dead, basically, all the way down to fifth place. And the 76 car has gone very wide of Stephen de Wolf. That's allowed 3 wide racing as they're going in towards turn 2. And I'll be back under caution. What's happened to Matteo Sufi?
Yeah, I don't think it's the situation for. I don't think we're actually. Are we back under caution? I'm not quite sure. Look at this. I just want to see this. Sufi goes through the middle, 3 wide there. Incredible move indeed there from Matthew Sufi, which I just thought actually deserved a quick second look there, but I just wasn't sure just how far into the situation we were here. Steve Clays putting on the pressure as well, and someone's got it all around there. I think that's Tony Arias. Tony Arias. And somehow, just about somehow, the yellow flags and the caution flags have stayed in here.
Yeah, that's a big amount of damage to the front end, isn't it? It's lucky it's not the rear end, because there was a pun in there somewhere, I'm sure, about needing a new rear. But Kurt Van Honecker, and this is actually Tony Arias. How does it happen then? He's going side by side with Kurt, going down the back straight, and he's already actually lost the front end of his car, hasn't he? So, you know, it's worth sort of pointing that out. He didn't lose the front end in this incident, but as he's on the outside with Kurt, there's a little bit of a touch. Kurt gets away with it, but ends up putting Tony. Oh, I'll tell you what, that could have been a massive incident, but he actually gets away with it largely, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looked a lot worse, because I just saw a car coming across the track there before, and that looked like it could have been an absolutely terrible incident indeed. In the end, it wasn't to be. Kenzie Newhoff, though, in a very good position here. Van Eekhoven in second, in front of Lucas de Belder, then John Barnes, Sufi, Sven Calvert, Steve Clays, Kip behind Tim Perry, and John Tosting there in 10th place. So having lost quite a bit of positions there since the race restart. Tim Perry, by the way, is currently in 9th. So that's a pretty good position for him to be in, given that the race has certainly been up and down. And I am afraid that Sergio Hernandez has left the building. He's no longer in the race, and well, that's going to be an absolute blow to his championship standings. And the question at this point, as we're within the final 20 laps of this race here, Jacko, who's going to take this one away from Team Down Under?
Wow, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. Lucas de Belder and Go Fast Turn Left is actually the car closest to challenging. That means that John Barnes, who slipped down, he has slipped down the Quantum Racing Team car. He's in 5th place now and looks to be only getting caught even more. And here we go. I think he's going to lose out in the top 5 position here with Sven Calpert sliding up the inside of him. Followed by Steve Clays, who's actually going to try and make it 3 wide. Steve Clays in the Skittles car is going to get through, and actually Sven Calpert didn't manage it at all. I'll tell you what though, Barnes is trying to carry the momentum around the outside and just about keeps it out of the wall, but he had to come off the throttle. That's left both of these cars through. Hello, Steve Clays. Hello, Steve Clays, says Sven Calpert. I'll take that position away from you. And up the inside he's going as well. Oh, John Barnes, he's losing out. Big puff of smoke by Steve Clays ahead. And yeah, Barnes just tumbling down the order. Now in 8th place, he's about to go down, potentially losing out in his top 10 position, to be honest. With Tim Perry about to take it at 8th away from him.
Yeah, indeed. And Kim Behate just went around the outside as well there before. That was certainly impressive. Van Buell, I'm afraid, has jumped to the pits. And just why that is, can't seem to make up here. Van Ekhoven still with a bit of a gap to make up on teammate Kenzie Newhoff up ahead. Mind you, again, 17 laps is just going to be about 15 minutes or so if we stay green all the way through. Right now, it's certainly looking quite good indeed for Team Down Under. And the question is also just about where Adam Wright is now. He's gone to the very rear of the field with an unlucky pit stop, I'm afraid. Look at this here, Tim Perry really is trying his very best to charge back through. He's really been up there on several occasions, but it's really been working out for him here as well. Further back here in 16th place where he started is last week's winner, Johan Osorio.
It is indeed, and I'm having a look at the overall standings for the championship as well, because obviously we mentioned Sergio Hernandez is in the lead of the championship, but he's also retired from this race. So what's this going to do to him? Well, if it stays as it is with Frederik van Ekhoven in second place in this race, he's in fourth in the championship. He'll jump to the lead of the championship by quite substantial as well, because he's only 11 points behind Sergio Hernandez. He'll gain 38 points. We've had a big off. Sorry, I was looking at my thing. Take it away, Hasse.
Kurt van Hoornakker, no. He gets a touch from the DYNAMIXX machine there, and he's just a passenger. The Flemish car makes it all worse, but there's just nothing to do there as well. Absolutely not a chance that he could have avoided that. We're going to take it in full speed yet again. Just have a look at that. There, the tiny touch. He gets pipped in as well, and then into a spin. The car's not able to slow down. That's a big impact with the wall for Kurt van Hoornakker. And while I think, we have indeed seen the yellow flags come out, so we're under yet another caution period. And if Kurt still has a fast repair lift in the bank, that's going to be a good time, if ever there was one, to get it used.
Absolutely, otherwise he's going to have to go back to daddy duties early, isn't he? Which I'm sure he's enjoying the small break that he's getting. But you can see him trying to turn back around. And you're right, we are back under caution period, which is a bit of a shame. We were on some good sort of rhythm there, but it does spice things up for the final 10 laps of the race. And there you go, you just saw the touch there. Well, you didn't see it, but you can sort of see the reaction of the car. And the attitude of the car changed dramatically with Kurt trying to catch it. Didn't quite come off for him. He'll be jumping into the pits, I'm sure, to try and fix whatever damage he has. And like you said, Hasse, try and use that fast repair.
Yeah, if he has any left, otherwise he will be in a tough position.
He's not taking it.
He's not taking it, which probably tells us a little bit more about the fact that he probably doesn't have one. Or he might be waiting for the rest of the bunch to come in, so he might want to pit alongside the rest of the field. The pit lane might not be open yet. There could be a few explanations, so let's see here for Kurt as he comes around for another one indeed. Interestingly so there indeed, we did have Kenzie Newhoff and Frederik van Ekhoven managing a 1-2 here last season as well. So by the looks of it, at the moment, history seems to be repeating itself here, Jacko. Yeah,
well, I was going to mention this earlier, but I wasn't entirely sure whether it was at Pocono or not, I'll be completely honest. It's sort of, the fact slipped my mind, and I was like trying to decide whether to bring it up or not, or be embarrassed the fact that I'm getting my stats wrong. But I did remember, obviously, Team Down Under dominating the restarts just like they have here and securing a 1-2. I was going to say they secured a 1-2-3, but I don't think that's quite right. It is just a 1-2. As Kenzie's going into the pits, but no, he's not. There we go. He waited a lot longer than Frederik van Ekhoven to do the old fake out, but a few people are behind learning their tricks now. So does this mean they're confident that they'll take these tyres right to the end of this race? And that means they'll only have pitted once. And that's a bit of a surprise from what we expected at Pocono. So the Team Down Under boys quite confident that they'll be able to carry this on and they'll be able to break away from the rest of the pack. It does mean that Frederik van Ekhoven will catch back up to Kenzie Newhoff. So it could work well for Frederik. Yeah,
it really could. Let's just see how this plays out in the end on lap, 53, 54?
53 we're on.
53 we're on indeed. And here comes the lucky dog. And that's one of the quantum cars. Indeed. Kenzie Newhoff, Frederik van Eekhoven, team down under, looking very, very hard to match here at Pocono. For the second consecutive season, they are putting on a real power play of a performance here tonight. It's looking very, very good indeed. And they have managed to come through a chaotic race as well to keep it alive, keep in front, and to make the most out of pretty much every situation throughout this race so far. And that's an impressive feat, I think.
Well, another impressive feat. Again, I'm just looking at the championship here because obviously we've got a little bit of time. But Kenzie Newhoff, he's all the way down in 18th place. So if he finishes this race in the lead like he is at the moment, he'll actually more than double his current points tally from the first 2 rounds. He'll end up with 83 points, I believe. And that actually means he's going to leapfrog Sergio Hernandez, who obviously is in the lead of the championship. And obviously there's a few other... I mean, Sergio Hernandez is going to drop down the order quite substantially, the fact that he isn't finishing this race. But it does mean that Kenzie has gone from 18th up to probably within the top 5, or at least touching distance from the top 5. So very impressive from Kenzie there. And that'll be why he's not probably going to move over quite so easily for Frederik van Eekhoven just to take this race lead and bag the amount of points that he does, because we're so early in the season, it's still advantageous for both of the team down under cars to gain the maximum amount of points. The main objective for both of them, I'm sure, will be the 1-2. It doesn't really matter what order they finish that in.
Indeed, I think that is just about right. And I think it's nice that we don't see any too strategic thinking there from the teams in terms of points and finishes, such that we get our buck's worth of racing here. The pace car, by the way, you can't see it right now, but those lights are off, and that is, of course, why the field is in full formation. We're watching Kenzie Newhoff. So we're coming down towards the tunnel turn, I believe it is. And let's just see how they get along with getting back to green. This is indeed the tunnel turn, turn 2, if you will. And turns out, Thomas Metz tells us, by the way, earlier in chat, Jago, turns out that it was indeed here at Pocono where the turns are modeled from 3 other oval raceways. So I was correct on that. It was a Pocono. In fact, might have been the one you were looking for. Correct. Nonetheless, here.
If anything, it was more in depth, Hasse. He's showing even deeper knowledge than I was trying to express.
I think we should watch out with saying me in deep knowledge of anything related. But I do my best to convert that knowledge into sentences that can be understood by human ears. And Kenzie Newhoff has gone very early yet again. Frederik van Eekhoven, not this time around, getting such a good start. And I think the Belder might have a shot here alongside Sufi. Sufi's on the outside of the Belder. The Belder's gonna go for it though. The Belder had it. The Belder has the line, but Sufi has the track position, and they're very much side by side here all the way through turn 1. Nice and clean indeed. And Steve Clives is there in the Skittles car, number 3 on the side for Chief Drive Racing Exemia, who really wants to get a piece of this action as well. These drivers in behind, they gotta be careful. Oh, look at this here. Tim Perry is gaining positions quick as well. And, all the way through there, 3 wide again. And Steve Clay certainly making positions quickly here. He's up into 3rd place. Tim Perry, I was just about to say, he's making up positions as well quickly here. I think it's Osorio there in 10th place, who's looking to get involved as well. But they can't scrap too hard with just around 10 laps to go here, Jacko.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wants to be able to finish this race. The last thing they want to do is ruin it with 10 laps to go, because there isn't the opportunity to jump back up the order as much as they would like. So they're probably going to be slightly more reserved at the front end of the field. That doesn't mean the ones at the rear end of the field, where they haven't got anything to lose, aren't going to try their best to maybe launch a move up the inside here or there. But Gabelda in 4th place, Clay's in 3rd, Sufi 4th, and then pretty much everybody else as well is lined up. Asario and Tim Perry going nice and close to each other, but they can smell blood, and this is what happens when 2 leaders really just run out in front without anything else. Everybody else is shy for the best of the rest, including the Belder. He's going fast. He's turning left. He's on the inside as well for third place here, taking away from Steve Clay's potentially 2x2 as they come down the widest NASCAR straight in the entire calendar. As they go down into turn 1, we're under caution period. There's spinners in the pit lane.
And the question is, what has happened here? I'm afraid Ari Sejas has been involved in this one. Let's get another better look at just what happens. There's the 76 car getting loose, and Stephen the Wolf collecting the 17 of Ari Sejas. Such a late stage in the race to get hit by such bad luck here. Let's have another look at exactly what happened here, Jacko.
Yeah, Ari Sejas, who has been driving an awful lot better, he just is that getting collected there. We didn't really get a great view of what happened. I think Stephen DeWolf's perspective. Yeah, there we go. He's already going sideways. No contact has been made with anyone. He's just lost it a little bit. There's the contact. The attitude of the car completely changed. And now you can see Ari Sejas also drifting. It's a little like one of those drifting displays that you see in the sort of Japanese modded cars. But not obviously what they want to do in a NASCAR in the middle of a race, or the end of the race, shall we say. But have a look at here as Stephen DeWolf loses it. In fact, we're back live with Kenzie Newhoff still leading, back under another caution period. It's not like we haven't been here before. Kenzie Newhoff has decided that he's going to try and take the race all the way to Frederick. And this is Manolo Rock actually we're on board with before he's catching up to the rest of them.
Yeah, I just had to answer Mule's question with just showing the graphic. I cannot even utter those words on stream, Mule, because it is even below my level. And that says a lot. It says a whole lot. Not that I don't appreciate your humor, Mule, you know that. Long-time viewer indeed. But Manolo Rock, one of the Ramones Oval Spain drivers in the number 60 car, not having found the same kind of luck they found last week when Johan Osorio brought them the victory indeed. Kenzie Newhoff, Frederick Van Ekhoven, they're going to be looking at another restart now, and I think that actually plays more into the hands of everyone else than the two front runners here. We're not going to have many laps left once we get back to running. I think it's going to be a
6 laps.
6 or 7 laps here in the end. No, okay. Yeah, indeed.
Well, I mean, I can drop one more little bit of knowledge from Pocono if you fancy it, Hasse.
Give it to us. Give it to us,
yeah,
Jacko.
It's just about, I mean, it's from their website, but it's quite nice, to be honest. It's a nice little bit of fact to sort of end this whole lesson of Pocono, really. And it's the fact that they know full well that they are, not going to be competing with the likes of Daytona or Talladega or anything like that. They're quite humble in the fact of that. So they sort of aimed towards a goal when they were rebuilding the circuit in 1990. And it's sort of titled under Pocono PFC. And what PFC means is Pocono, pretty, friendly, and clean. And I think that's just quite humble, isn't it? They know full well that they're not going to be able to compete with the likes of Talladega for the most amount of exciting racing, or the venue's not going to be as pretty or as spectacular, but they just want to be sort of that family-friendly track, and I think that's quite nice.
Yeah, the thing is that Pocono actually is one of the most dangerous tracks on the NASCAR and on the oval calendars in general.
Quite ironic, really, isn't it?
Indeed. So we've seen that tonight with our own eyes as well. A, shall we say, chaotic race indeed. Of course, thanks yet again goes to our sponsor, which is, of course, DYNAMIXX Race Simulators, our title sponsor indeed. Go check their page when you feel like it. Now would be a good time. Or maybe after the stream, Lord knows. But do give him a visit and tell him, be sure to tell him that Simracersworld sent you. That humor rules supreme. It's got nothing with rumors to do. It's just the fact that sometimes stuff kind of changes position before it decides to come out my mouth, which is weird and slightly annoying. the most
A
amount
great
of
trait
caution.
for a commentator.
Well, it's great. It's great. It doesn't happen that often. It happens. I think it happens to everyone. I mean,
It does, definitely
I
does.
mean, it like, if I can stop the stopwatch, as Murray Walker once infamously said, if Murray Walker said to stop the stopwatch, I will allow myself to say whatever damn I please to say. And it will be
Absolutely, Hasse.
just all right, Jacko. And don't you try to tell me otherwise.
I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you otherwise, Hasse. I think everybody watching knows how entertaining and good you are at this. Don't you worry about a thing.
Just, as always, I'm being very serious, as you can hear. We're getting back to green flag here. 6 laps to go at Pocono. We've got a double team down under at the head of the field. It's mirroring what we saw last season, the 62 leading the 477. But the challengers are there as well. And what can Steve Clays, Lucas DeBelder, Matty Sufi, Sven Calvert, and company make of this? Look out for Johan Osorio. He could have a charge under his wings, if you will, in the number 11 car. And I haven't done my Murray yet, Mew, and I'm not going to do it for NASCAR. But anyway, we are just seeing the cars exit the pit road there. Pace car's going to swing off. And Kenzie Newhoff has control of the field. He goes. And when he goes, the teammate goes, and they're going to have to be awake for it. And I think Steve Clay is going to weigh to it well alongside Lucas DeBelder. And let's just see here how they slot into turn 1 here, Jacko.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a good start by Steve Clays to hold on that best of the rest position, but DeBelder is coming for the cutback now. Johan Osario's looking at this and smelling blood, a final podium position. Everybody's waving goodbye to Kenzie Newhoff, who yet again has extended that gap. Frederick Van Ekhoven may be under pressure here. In fact, there's no doubt about it. He is under pressure. DeBelder gets through on Steve Clays. Johan Osario retains his 5th place position. Clays has made up 21 places in this race, the most amount of anybody by quite some distance as well, it has to be said. Who's that going inside? It's Matteo Sufi, I believe, trying to dive inside of Tim Perry. Not quite held onto it, I don't think. But it's still the team down under cars leading the way. And with any luck, we'll keep green flag running. As I say that, we go to yellow. So the commentator's curse, I'm not taking claim on that one. A huge incident in the background. Yet again, Hendrik de Grave, who hasn't been out of the incident, I don't think.
There it is.
It's gold again.
That is one big hit, and he just gets turned. Have a look at this. Slows it right down for us here. I think he gets turned by Bram van Uyften, and it seems very much like a racing incident to me.
Yeah, that is horrendously unlucky. It was Bram van Uyften as well, and it looked like Hendrik maybe got a call from his spotter saying it was clear to carry on going to the right-hand side. He was just trying to take the racing line, but van Uyften obviously he had his nose there, unfortunately, and it all ended badly for a few of those drivers.
Yeah, indeed. We'll just have a final look at it here. As you can see, there's the contact. Hendrik de Grave can do absolutely nothing about it, and I'm afraid you see further down here, coming across at some point again, because that happened somewhat far up the field, and you can see some of those cars at the very back. That's one of the Quantum cars, as well as Steven de Wolf, I think it is, in the 76, who was involved in this one as well. Yeah, cleared according to the spotter. Oh, Hendrik, that is how I would categorize bad luck, to be honest. And as I said, I think that goes pretty well with what we said before, that it looks like a complete racing incident. And sometimes drivers really do just try to act in the best belief, and things just doesn't go to plan still. And it's something we've seen many times before now. This makes me wonder, Jacko, are we gonna go to a green-white checkered situation here?
Well, we should do, I think. It says 3 laps to go. The pace car should come in, not this lap, obviously, because the lights are still on. Maybe not one more, but I think we should go green for at least one lap of racing. And if you're Steve DeBelder, you're probably very pleased with the with what's happened just before as well, because he obviously got track position, and now he's got a few laps just running down the clock, basically, that Steve Clays cannot attack him in. Where on earth is Frederick Van Eekhoven? I'm not entirely sure he's going to fool anyone with 2 laps to go going into the pits. I don't think anybody would be foolish enough to do that tactic. But DeBelder, yeah, he's got track position. I say that, actually. A few drivers have come in. But that is John Tusting, who is missing half the car.
Jacko? It might come back
he's missing half the car. I'm not going to take that one.
As you can hear, we do enjoy a good time in the booth as well. Just how it should be. 3 laps to go now. Shouldn't that have gone down to 2 laps?
Oh, we are going to green, white, checkered, actually. It's you can see in the left-hand side. Well, I can see in the left-hand side of my screen. I've got a different overlay on, saying that we are going green, white, checkered. So this should be an entertaining end to the race.
This is something that we love to see, indeed, Jacko. Green, white, checkered. Something that really brings out the heat of the moment in a way that nothing else seems to do in this world of NASCAR. And if I recall correctly now, of course, do correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I think that when we do have these green, white, checkered situations, that any incidents are sort of going to be ignored, because they know this is going to be the white flag lap whatsoever, and it certainly will, and the race is going to be seeing checkered flag at the end of it, so no real sense to pull out the caution flag in the same way. Let's just see about that. I'm sure, yet again, as almost always, at least, someone in chat knows. So, and that's just a credit to you guys out there. Knowledgeable people, our knowledgeable viewers, always sitting there ready to chip in from their infinite bank of wisdom.
One of the advantages about streaming on the internet, isn't it, really? Is that we can constantly see the chat. And if we get anything wrong, someone's instantly there to correct us and to get that right information across. Don't get that in TV, do you? You can't see what everybody's feeding back to you.
No, that's true. And actually, it's also one of the main reasons that we've managed to pick up on quite a lot of information, not only about the tracks but about oval racing in general. I feel we've really been enriched, and you've been to a great help indeed, chat. A wonderful crowd. We have had and can I just say that in general, it's been really, really nice to see so many returning viewers. Thank you so much for staying with us on Monday nights. And I can speak on behalf of Jacko and myself when I say that we dearly appreciate that. And we are very, very glad to see you week and week again.
Absolutely, and thank you everybody who's subscribing as well, and the channel's only growing, which is thanks to you guys returning, sharing, commenting, liking, all that sort of thing. So a big shout out to you guys, and hopefully the drivers will offer up a grandstand finish to bring us home for the 3rd round here at Pocono.
Yeah, indeed. So somehow it says 3 laps to go as well, so it seems to have frozen it, at least according to our overlay, but we are on lap 65.
It will be a green, white, checkered.
So it will indeed be a green, white, checkered, and we're about to go green here. We're about to go over to you as well, Jacko, to take us through it. And one of the most exciting parts of oval racing altogether. Yeah,
one of the reasons everybody gets hooked on this sport is for this exact reason. Kenzie Newolf looked like they were dominating the race. In fact, both team down under cars looked like they were dominating, but they are now under threat by Steve Clays and DeBelder. Not anything can happen on the restart, although Kenzie Newolf looks like he's got a bit of a gap. I would say DeBelder needs to close up slightly more to try and get any hope on getting the jump, or is he trying to get the lead to put his foot down to out-catch Kenzie Newolf himself? Kenzie with the foot down. Frederick Van Eekhoven is under pressure. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing for the green, white, checkered. DeBelder has got up the inside of Frederick Van Eekhoven, who is now in 3rd place. Kenzie Newolf has got into the lead, but all of a sudden the team down under car, Frederick, is going to be tightly pushed all the way down to the end. Steve Clays and Johan Asario. Johan carrying that good momentum from the previous round. Steve Clays coming to the inside. Frederick has gone back into 2nd place, and it's all queuing up for moves at the back of the field as well as we look at Manolo Rock and the number 60 car. of Frederick Lopez Vinales. In fact, no, that's not the number 60 car. That is Manolo Rock. Sorry, I got that a bit wrong, but Kenzie Newhoff still in the lead of this race.
Kenzie Newhoff leading Van Eekhoven, so it's still looking good for Team Down Under here. Steve Kleiss trying to get in on the action here, and Osorio is taking 4th place away from Lucas de Belde, who already lost the positions to Steve Kleiss. Osorio's trying for it at least, but I think de Belde might have gotten the better run on the outside there, and that is indeed the case, and he's going to have to try another day. Here is the white flag indeed. The final lap is upon us. Tony Arias has had an incident, but it's not been enough to provoke a yellow flag, which we are, of course, very happy about. Here, Kenzie Newhoff looks to be in pole position for this one. He has been so for the entirety of the race, except for the fact that, of course... Oh!
He actually got away with it. He got away with it. He grazed the outside wall, but he's just about got away with that one. Sorry for interrupting you there. But Johan Osorio going up the inside of the Belder now to take home that 4th place potentially. We're on to the final back straight. Hasse, it all comes down to this.
Yeah, here comes Sven Calbert, the 73 car, trying to get a run on the Belder as well. Now Steve Kleiss is looking to get the better. Oh no, he's defending from Osorio, but up ahead, it's going to be another double. Kenzie Newhoff takes it for a 2nd consecutive season across the line. Checkered flag for Team Down Under. Frederick Van Eekhoven 2nd, and it's going to be Steve Kleiss for G-Drive. In 3rd place, Johan Osorio, though 4th place for Ramon Zolman Spain. He was sitting so far down the order. He was sitting there late in the race, and he will be picking up some crucial points for them as well. Then further down, Manolo Rock picks up 10th place there. Kimby Hayden 9th, Sufi in 8th, then John Barnes 7th. Sven Calbert does get 6th place, and Lucas de Belde 5th. And as we mentioned, the top 4 was Osorio in 4th, and then place. Van Eekhoven, Newhoff, of course. Great race, great finish here in the end for Team Down Under for the 2nd consecutive season here from Pocono.
I do love a GWC green-white finish. And you have to see on your screen now that Kenzie Newhoff is confirmed winner here at Pocono for round 3 of the SRW DYNAMIXX NASCAR Series. Frederick Van Eekhoven is in 2nd place with Steve Kleiss in 3rd. Johan Osorio in 4th place, and what I believe will be taking the championship lead as well. Lucas de Belde rounds out the top 5 with Sven Calbert in 6th. John Barnes in 7th place. He managed to stave off that downward spiral he was heading on before the last caution period. Matteo Sufi in 8th place. Kimber Hayt 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Manolo Rock. Fernando Lopez in 11th place, with 12th being Kurt Van Honecker. 13th was Tim Perry, with Bob Boland ended up in 14th. 15th was Eddie Sejas. He came back from an incident that was very unfortunate. Right towards the end, I thought I was going to write him off. Bram Van Uytven, after only having 1 minute of practice, ends up in 16th place. Paul Gosling in 17th. Vandenberg in 18th. Adam Wright 19th, with 20th being John Tusting. Leaving up to Beek in 21st, with 22nd being Stephen de Wolf. Fredericks in 23rd, with Jochen Lennart in 24th. The only driver to not have changed position from the qualifying position that he gained in 24th there, Jochen Lennart. Tony Arez in 25th. Philip Russell was 26th. Hendrik de Graves, 6 laps down, is the last of the cars. The first of the cars that didn't finish on the lead lap. He's in 27th. Ruben Van Buell in 28th, 20 laps down. Sergio Hernandez ended up 27 laps down. Ryan Walker, 51 laps down. Robert Lundgren, 55 laps down. And Ian Root, a full 59 laps down. So he retired after 6 laps of the boss, Ian Root. But for now, we're not going to focus on Sergio Hernandez for once or anything like that. We're going to focus on the Team Down Under cars, because Kenzie Newhoff and Frederick Van Eekhoven absolutely dominating. At least one of them was winning this race from start to finish. Absolutely stunning, Hasse.
Absolutely stunning indeed, and much bad luck has been dished out here at Pocono. Certainly lived up to its nickname here, and we did have a very tricky race on our hands. Indeed, seems like it's different from everything else, and Kenzie Newhoff certainly has mastered it. Team Down Under, they led from start to finish. Indeed, it was a very, very good showing from them. Near perfect race. I love the fix at the pit stop, and they made it last so long. They really read the race perfectly with the caution periods. They took some chances. It almost went wrong there. Was that actually for Kenzie Newhoff, who did pit under green flag conditions, I think. Then came back and managed to win it anyways in the end. So that's undeniable class, and it's been a very, very good race indeed for him.
Yeah, we're just having a look and waiting to see if anybody wants to jump in the interview waiting room to have a chat to us before we go. Obviously, we'd love to have a word with Kenzie or Frederick, but if anybody else, obviously, out there within the sort of top 5 or anything, or anybody who had a great race, would like to have a chat, then we are more than welcome, more than accommodating to speak to people. But yeah, I think I said we won't mention Sergio Hernandez, but we sort of got to, haven't we? He's lost out on a whole heap of points here. He really sort of got caught up, didn't he? He took a lot of early pit stops, whereas the likes of the Down Under boys didn't take any at all until about over halfway through the race. And it just meant he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, wasn't it? That's probably going to be something that he's going to learn from. Not that we thought there was anything that he can learn from, because he seemed to be so dominating in this series. But it's not ideal for him, and he has lost the championship lead. Oh, however, his fellow Spaniard, Johan Osorio, Hasse, he was in no man's land for such a long amount of this race. He ends up in 4th place.
He came from out of a box or something there. He really came flying over the last few laps. That was impressive to see. Really classy finish from Johan to pick up the all important points there in the end. Anyway, we are ready with some drivers in the interview waiting room. We're going to take a talk to Frederick van Eekhoven. Here is going to be ready to talk to Jack Oliphant.
Well, Frederick, what can we say? Team Down Under absolutely dominating in that race. Obviously, you led for more than half of it, but you had to settle for 2nd place in the end. What made you both stand out? What made Team Down Under stand out from the rest of the field?
I don't know. It's just a track which suits us, I think. Last year, we got the exact same result. Also, Kenzie winning and me 2nd. So, yeah, I think it's just track that we like it somehow.
What, is it just fluke? Have you practiced here before? Is it when the calendar got announced? Is it somewhere that you'd raced on before? You know, is there any sort of knack to it that you two just seem to have? Because you seem to have a 10th or 2 over everybody else, no matter how many times you restart, no matter how old your tyres are. Yeah, there must be some sort of giveaway there.
Not really. I think Pocono is just one of those tracks where you need a certain technique, and it's not like any other oval. So not the usual suspects are at the front. And I think we just got the right technique for it.
Well, you certainly did that, it has to be said. It almost looked like you guys were on a completely different setup, although, just to make it clear for the stream, everybody is on a fixed setup, so there is none of that messing around going on. You will probably be in 2nd place in the championship now. I think Johan Osorio coming in 4th meant that he will be in the lead of the championship, but that really puts you in a good place as well, with Sergio Hernandez not finishing. Was there a chat between you and Kenzie Newhoff about maybe whether you can just take the victory away and try and secure those few extra points to catch up to the lead, or are you pretty happy with the way it's all settled down?
I'm pretty happy with the way it settled down. It wasn't really a chat. I mean, just in general, we just race each other, and as you saw in the first half of the race, Kenzie isn't taking me over if it's not safe to do so. So we also do it the other way around. We don't race each other hard. We just do the race and then see where we end up. And in the end, it was Kenzie who had the better of me.
Well, that's exactly how teamwork should be had, in my opinion, in racing. It's not necessarily team orders about jumping out the way. It's more about racing fair, but working together to get the maximum amount of points. Well, Frederick, we'll let you go. We have a few other drivers to talk to, but is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, Team Down Under, of course, and then DYNAMIXX Designs and 3D Rep.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you, Frederick, and we will potentially be having a chat to you next week. Good luck for practicing, and yeah, we'll speak to you next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
So that was 2nd place finisher Frederick van Eekhoven, and I am here with 3rd place finisher for G-Drive Racing Eximia, or as you all might know it better, the Skittles car. This is Steve Kleiss. Steve, welcome to the booth. Thanks for joining us here. Nice to have you along for a bit of a talk here. Third place at what is arguably the toughest and the most the toughest track of the season. I think we can safely say that. Are you satisfied with the result today?
Good evening, boys. Yeah, I'm very satisfied because I only started 25th. I didn't qualify due to, let's say, social activities. So I'm really satisfied. I really wanted to drive up to the top 10, let's say, not crash out like last week. I was last week 7th, but I got crashed out. So I'm very, very happy. And I didn't practice at all for this race. I only did 2 laps in the practice session, and that was it. So the race was practice.
The race was practice, and given that, I think we could safely say it went pretty well, didn't it? We're coming to Daytona next week, Steve. What are your hopes for coming back to the really super fast super speedways?
Oh, I'm a really NASCAR fan, in meaning that I really like short tracks. So the long speedways, yeah, that's fun. It's full throttle, 3 wide, but I rather have like New Hampshire and Dover and those kind of tracks. So I like Daytona, I like Talladega, but that's not the racing that I really want. Like today, it was fun. You really have to brake. You have to drift the car a little bit. In Daytona, it's just full throttle and hoping to survive it. So it's not a driver's track. Let's us put it that way.
Indeed, Steve. Congratulations on a good race, and we hope to see you again here in the booth soon. If nothing else, then when we get back to some of the more challenging ground, which does indeed seem to suit you. Now, before we let you off this commentary booth hook that we like so much, Jacko and I, is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks or a shout out to?
I'd like to thank Lucas, who I worked together with the whole race. I think he was 5th or something. Yeah, 5th. We really tried to defend our position and work together to get the best out of it. We know first, second was impossible with the teammates in front of us, but we really tried to outpace the other competitors, and I think we quite succeeded. So thanks, Lucas.
Well, thanks to you, Steve, for joining us in the booth. A pleasure to have you in for a bit of a chat, and as I said before, I hope that we'll get to see you soon again here in the booth for another interview, mate. And have a good evening.
Yeah, I hope to. See you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.
So that was Steve Kleiss, and this is going to be another one for Jacko, as I hope he's here and he's not peeing his pants, as he almost always is about to do at this point of the interview section. But here is Jacko, peeing or not, and he's going to speak to Bram van Eyften.
Well, normally I am, to be fair. I do take the opportunity for you to do the interview so I can run off to the toilet quickly. But I am not. I'm actually here today, and I'm here with Bram van Eyften. Now, Bram, I believe there is more to be celebrated than just the... well, in fact, actually, I'm sorry, I kind of mixed up slightly there. But Bram, that was a difficult race for you, wasn't it? There was a little bit more contact than you would appreciate.
Yeah, I started in the back to keep it a bit safe, and I drove through the front, but then I messed up my first pit stop, so I had to restart from the back. And at one of the restarts, Hendrik tried to help me, but I saw it too late. I was on the outside line, and then one of the next corners, we didn't go at the same pace to the outside, and we hit each other. So sorry to Hendrik for me, but overall, it was a nice race.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pocono is a difficult track, isn't it? Because of the likes of Daytona and Talladega and the super speedways, you may well have gotten away with that because you may have had a little bit more room to get out of the way, mightn't you? And I believe Hendrik's spotter did tell him that there was enough space for you and him for him to come across. But, you know, do you prefer the super speedways? Are you a fan of the Pocono action? You know, what's sort of your more inclination towards now you've had a couple of seasons at it?
I like Pocono, but I also like the super speedways. But in Pocono, even if you are fast, it's difficult to go to the front. You have to have enough green time running to get to the front. And the first restarts, I was a bit afraid because they were a bit messy. But after that, it all went pretty good, I think. Compared to last season, there were a lot more cautions, 3-4 wide in the first corner. So I think it went well this time.
Yeah, I think everybody's learned a little bit more, haven't they? Well, we are off to one of the super speedways, obviously one of the most famous, if not the most famous one, at Daytona next time out. What are your hopes for that one? Are you going to do a similar tactic where you sort of qualify towards the back and try and keep it safe, or are you sort of going to try and get stuck in a little bit more since it's a bit wider of a circuit and there's more overtaking opportunities?
Now, the first half, I'm going to take it a little bit slowly in the back and see what remains of the field.
It's a worthy tactic, isn't it? Really, because obviously it's a sort of race series that you can actually be at the back and then you can sort of push really hard, push the tires quite hard, and get through the field as long as you're not caught up in any other incidents. Good luck towards Daytona. We'll let you go relatively quickly. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we say goodbye?
The team boss, Jochen from DYNAMIXX, for sponsoring the series and having fun races with us. My other teammates who helped me during the race, and especially Ian, the boss of the Simracersworld. I want to thank you for supporting my ideas.
Well, I'm sure he's appreciative of it. Big up Ian and all the other drivers, Jochen as well. Thank you very much, Bram. We'll let you head off for the evening and potentially chat to you next week.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Indeed. So that was Bram van Uyften and a little bit of a post-race interview. That brings us to the concluding end, I'm afraid, of our broadcast for tonight. Thanks goes to you all for tuning in with us here on Simracersworld TV, be that on YouTube, on Twitch, or on our Facebook page. Do leave us a like if you like what you've seen here tonight, and well, you know what to do if you want to see more. There will be more NASCAR action coming this next Monday. Same time, same place. We're going to be at Daytona for something truly great indeed. Something truly awesome. And it's going to be me and Jack in the booth to take you all through it yet again. Of course, we've got plenty of more to come as well. That'll all be on the road side of things, which is something that both Jack and I are a little bit more familiar with in the end. But I gotta be honest with you. At this rate, I don't know if I'll be a road racing fan in the end. More so than a NASCAR fan. Anyways, that'll be it for Jacko and I for tonight. Thanks also to our sponsor, DYNAMIXX Race Simulators, and go check them out when you have the time. And until next time, I think all that really remains to be said is take care, have fun, and until then, bye-bye.